Okay, so we're going to go through a quick breakdown on Iraq. And I wanted to just run through a quick timeline of it, and then we'll end with where we are today. And what's today's we're in August. So we'll start here with Rummy. Rummy and Saddam meeting. They look like they're having a great time, right? Everybody's good with each other. This is in 1984, and I guess he went again in 1984, or this is in 83, and then he went again in 84 after the UN released a report about how Saddam was using mustard gas on Iranian troops. But it looks like we don't have a problem with him at this point. There's good times to be had here. And it just kind of goes to show we'll see the ups and downs, I think, as we go through here. So what happens after this? We have the Iran-Iraq War. So this is known as the first Persian Gulf War. You can read, you got the Wikipedia page here. But something interesting happens here. Well, not really interesting because, if you see in the picture before, we're his buds. So we come in on the side of Iraq, right? We defend Iraq and support Iraq through this Iran-Iraq war. It was interesting to see how this unfolded and how it's kind of seemed to be a political war. I mean, we blew up their oil platforms, and it seemed more politically motivated than anything. But the main thing here is that we supported Iraq and Saddam for what he was doing, and I think through all this, you can see here that we supported him as he was using chemical weapons, right? Weapons of mass destruction. Declassified 1991 CIA report estimated Iran had suffered more than 50,000 casualties from the use of the chemical weapons, although more current estimates put it at more than 100,000. So we supported him while he was using chemical weapons. That's interesting because nowadays, if we think that someone may have chemical weapons, oh no, that's bad. It's bad. You can't do that. We need to invade. But here, totally fine. Not only was he using chemical weapons, but according to Iraqi documents, assistance in developing chemical weapons was obtained from firms in many countries, including the United States. So we were giving him the chemical weapons also. Funny, right? Declassified CIA documents show that the United States was providing reconnaissance intelligence to Iraq around 1987-88, which was then used to launch chemical weapon attacks on Iranian troops, and that the CIA fully knew that the chemical weapons would be deployed and sarin attacks followed. So we were giving him intel, knowing what he was going to do with that intel, use chemical weapons, and he did use chemical weapons. With our help, from us. Oh, God, Iraq they're so bad. It was not us at all. We had nothing to do with this. Another very interesting one through this whole conflict was we shot down a civilian airliner. The USS Vicinius, whatever. Shot down Iran Air Flight 655, killing all 290 passengers. We claimed it was in international waters, which was later proven to be untrue. It was in Iranian waters. And it was mistaken for an F-14 Tomcat. You know, the tiny little plane compared to a giant 290 passenger plane. It was in Iranian waters. Iranian territorial waters. And I think it was George H.W. Bush was asked about it. Bush Sr., and they said, you know, are you going to apologize? And he said, I'm not in the business for apologizing. I'm not in the business of apologizing for America. Good stuff right there. The U.S. expressed regret for the event. I guess that's good, right? We regret it. We're not sorry, but we regret that it happened. Sounds kind of similar to things that are going on in other places in the world right now, right? Oh, sorry. I mean, or not, actually not sorry. We regret that civilians have to die, but what are you going to do? So then that fizzled out, and then what happened next here? Oh, so Saddam calls a meeting with, sorry, I'm gonna drink my coffee too. April Glaspie, the ambassador to Iraq, and tells him about the border dispute. And since we already came to bat for Iraq during the Iran-Iraq war, I think Saddam wanted to kind of test the waters, and he explained, I guess, the deal with Kuwait, and Glaspie said, this is not an American issue. Your border dispute has nothing to do with us. We just hope that it's resolved quickly. And she says that she also said quickly and peacefully. I guess the transcripts don't say that. It just says quickly. So Saddam took that as, okay, well, they had my back before. Let's do it again. So he invades six days later. And then something interesting happened. After we said it's none of our business, it turns out it was some of our business. So we launched Operation Desert Storm, right? And so this is the second Persian Gulf War, and we destroyed that place. And we left him in power after all that nonsense. So that was interesting. That we would go through all that and then just we could take him out if we wanted to, but we didn't want to, right? He's our strong man. He's the guy that keeps everything together over there. Like Cheney said back in the day. Something like Iraq's a quagmire. You get rid of Saddam and you're gonna have the whole country just gonna fly apart. Pieces of it are gonna go to the left and to the right, and kind of what's happening now, right? I mean, Dick is a smart guy, but he is kind of a dick. But he knew. He's not stupid. So so that happened. And there's obviously you know about the Persian Gulf War, right? So what happens? Oh, and I found this to be an interesting tidbit to add into this. After all the sanctions that we imposed, and all the attacks, she was, and Madeleine Albright, the Secretary of State for Clinton, was asked in a 60 Minutes interview. She said, and this is Leslie Stahl, just regarding the U.S. sanctions on Iraq, and she says, we've heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children that died in Hiroshima. And is it worth it? So 500,000 children, this is just children, have died because of sanctions. And she asked, is it worth it? Secretary of State to President Clinton on the death of 500,000 children because of our policy. I think it's a very hard choice, but the price, we think the price is worth it. So it's gotta be kind of telling us to the type of people that we're dealing with here, right? If she's the Secretary of State and she's saying, yes, 500,000 children dead is okay with us, she's just the Secretary of State too. I mean, that's a pretty high position, but do you think that attitude does not persist throughout other levels of the government? And that's pretty shocking right there. I mean, that's got to tell you the type of people that we're dealing with. She's a monster. I mean, everybody talked about how the Nazis were monsters. This is a monster right there. She's a monster. 500,000 dead children. Who's it worth it to? The price is worth it to who? To her? To the families of the 500,000 dead children? I don't know who she said is worth it to, but that is horrific. Absolutely horrific. So there was the Persian Gulf War, and then you have the 500,000 dead children, and then what? So we kind of left the sanctions and just let that place, let Saddam do what he wanted. What happened next? Oh, our boy Colin Powell comes in. He's got this cute little thing right here. Weapons of mass destruction. They have weapons of mass destruction. They were using them before. We were giving them to him knowingly, and he was like, we knew he was using them. We were helping him use them. And now that's a problem. Now him having whatever's in this little vial that'll kill everybody, that cute little speech he gave. There's a real issue here now. We need to do something about it. So, and we get these cute little mobile production filler for biological agents, right? I mean, these turned out to be like refrigeration trucks or something like that. None of this was true, but this is what we were shown on TV. So then what happens? Troops on the ground. We got to shock and awe the shit out of him. So we blew the place up again. And can you imagine living there? Can you imagine? That's like your house right here. God, that's insanity. That is absolute insanity. Over yeah, good job. So we blow the place up, and a lot of people dead, a lot of destruction. And now where are we at? What did Dick say? You take out Saddam, and you know you're gonna have a quagmire. You're gonna lose a bunch of stuff. Some people are gonna take over that you don't want to take over. Oh, exactly what Dick said. And who are these people? And how are they getting all these? That looks like a an American-made rifle. How are they getting this? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's because we've been supplying all these militants and extremists to do our bidding over there, and all those weapons are getting into the hands of these monsters. So now you have a group of monsters who are taking power, and they're committing just atrocities. I mean, you see the videos of those. They're putting children's heads on stakes and putting them in the ground to make sure people know that they're in charge. They're insane, absolutely insane. They want to establish an Islamic State, impose Sharia law. I don't know how much of that's true. That's just what CNN says, and we can go back to how CNN told us all about those Iraqi WMDs in the first place. So this could just be a lie, but it does kind of look like American weapons. And we know that we were funding and training all those people over there, so that's probably us. And now we're back to, oh, we're going to send some more troops. We're going to send troops back to Iraq. So now we're back to defending Iraq again. If you see the good guy, bad guy, good guy, bad guy. So now we need to defend Iraq from these monsters that we created. Ugh, God, it's almost... If you can just see the timeline here as we go through, people need to realize what is happening here. This is not in our interest. So this is a game that's being played. And then you see stuff like they're going to bring the total troop count to 800, and these are combat ready troops. And then you see stuff like this. Where is it? Okay, 300 more troops, or in addition to 300 U.S. advisors. Now, I wasn't, I wasn't really aware of what was going on for Vietnam and all that stuff, right? But I know that they used this advisors to get away with keeping troops there. They just called them advisors, and that's ridiculous. So now we're down to great. So now Obama is going to allow airstrikes again, and I think it already started happening, right? They started striking. So now we're in the defense again of Iraq, and it's come full circle again. And you got to wonder, why? What's the point? Who cares? I don't care. Does somebody have an interest in Iraq that we don't know about? Is there something to do with oil? I don't know how all that works. Is it oil companies that are pulling the strings here, or is it arms manufacturers? Because now all those dollar signs are just cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. We need to make more weapons, use more bombs, etc., etc., etc. And so now we're back to this again, and it's almost like a I don't want to say it's comedy because it's really sad. All these people are dying, but when you look at the timeline here, how do you not see what's happening here? I mean, clearly this is not for America and American interests. This is assholes being assholes, right? I mean, that's really the only thing you can put this on. So now, we'll see what happens next, right? We're gonna attack ISIS, whatever, and then something will happen, and we'll have to be friends again, and then we'll be enemies again, and all the while the dollar signs will keep pumping. It's coming from my tax dollars are going to go just right into this. Everybody's tax dollars are just so. But that was it. Just wanted to throw that together. All right, have a good one.